Hi guys, here's my recipe for apple pear blossoms. Start by peeling and finely dicing 2 apples and 1 pear. I used Gala apples and a Bartlett pear. But feel free to use your favorite variety of apples and pears. Be careful when you're peeling and dicing the pear because they can get kind of slippery. Stir together the fruit in a large bowl. Add a pinch of salt, a tablespoon of flour, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and a dash of freshly grated nutmeg. Now add in 2 teaspoons of sugar and a splash of vanilla extract. Give it all a good stir. Set that aside and we'll work on the puff pastry next. Lightly flour the work surface so the pastry won't stick and spread it around. Unroll or unfold the puff pastry onto the floured surface and give another light dusting of flour on top. Now use a rolling pin to roll out the pastry so you can fit in 4 6-inch circles. That step comes next. I used a bowl, a cereal bowl, with a 6-inch circumference, and I pressed it firmly into the puff pastry so I had the outline of the circle. And this is where you need enough room on the pastry to fit 4 circles onto the sheet. Then I took a paring knife and went around each circle so they could be easily transferred to the baking tray. Now I used an individual mini pie tin to make my apple blossoms, but you can also just make them without a tin. The choice is yours. But what I did was I pressed them in and then did an egg wash in the bottom of each puff pastry. The egg wash is so the bottom of the pastry doesn't get soggy. Then use a paring knife to put little holes docking the pastry so they don't puff up too much. Fill each well with plenty of apple and pear filling. Then you can use a little water on a finger to run that around the edge of the pastry and fold that into a neat little package up along the sides of the apple and pear filling. The water will help that stick to the fruit as well. Then take that same egg wash as before and brush that around the sides of the apple blossom on the pastry. We're almost ready to put them in the oven, but first comes the streusel topping. Combine a 1/2 cup of flour, a 1/2 cup of sugar, a 1/2 cup of oats, a pinch of salt, and 4 tablespoons of butter cut up in a bowl. Then use your hands, your fingers, to work the butter into the flour, oats, and sugar mixture until it forms a nice crumble. You want to work the large pieces of butter in as best you can using your fingertips. This will take a few minutes. Once your streusel has crumbled nicely, top each apple pear blossom with a good, healthy dose of the streusel topping. Then it's time to pop them in the oven for about 17 to 20 minutes at 400 degrees until they're golden brown. Set the baked apple pear blossoms on a wire rack to cool completely. Meanwhile, you can make that delicious vanilla cinnamon glaze. Whisk together 2 cups of confectioner's sugar, some vanilla extract, heavy cream, and a little dash of ground cinnamon until it turns into a nice drizzling consistency. Add the icing into a piping bag, or you can use a sandwich bag. Squeeze the icing into a corner, snip off the tip, and drizzle each apple blossom with a nice healthy dose of glaze. Whoa, doesn't that look good? It's time to eat. Get the full printable recipe at kudoskitchen by Renee.com.